Chinese laser diodes, the real truth. But first, a bit about me. My experience with lasers started with my fascination by the shiny red dots of the first ever pencil lasers, pointers that came out. I suppose even though the first lasers actually came out in circa May 1960s, when Hughes Research Laboratory in California made lasers by shining high power flash lamp on a ruby rod with silver coated surfaces. Ooh. I wasn't even around back then. So my journey started when they became mainstream, when you could get them on little key rings and little pens. Sure, they were used in computers and optical mice, but you can't really chase a cat around with a mouse now that's attached to your PC. Well, not really. I suppose later on, whoop, shit, they were found everywhere, even in the likes of power tools. These aren't the lasers we will discuss today, but worth a mention nonetheless. Remember folks, the world of lasers is both dangerous and rewarding, so treat all your equipment with respect. Keep your eyeballs behind some sexy laser spectacles. So let's begin with the basics, shall we? The quality of the laser is based on all sides by the inequity and the power delivery train and the optical shininess of the output. Couple that with the wiring, the cooling, and let's not forget the basics, the focus, because without that, it's the special bit, the important bit, the distance from the workplace. The idea is to make that little laser as small as possible to enable it to cut or engrave things like anodized aluminium with furious and awesomest power. Maximize its efficiency by having the dot tiny. You can have the most powerful laser in the world available to you, yet without proper setup, you won't get the best results. You may even get results so far from what you're expecting that you get frustrated and perhaps even give up. You may consider getting a better setup, spending more money needlessly. There's no point in using a chainsaw to trim your flowers in the garden. Same applies to the materials you'll be cut with a laser. You won't necessarily need a CO2 laser if you're just cutting cardboard, paper, maybe some cloth. Simply not necessary. You wouldn't want to cut down a 10mm thick piece of wood with a 1-watt diode. You could, it would be very wasteful and you'd need the laser working 100% and it would probably burn the edges long before it even cut a quarter way through, if even that. With that said, a great diode laser with a cheap lens will not do you any favours either. Having a clean lens is a good start. People use air assist for this, and if it's set up correctly, it can make a massive difference. More power doesn't make a better laser. Air assist will make your cuts cleaner, they'll cut down on the smoke, making you able to cut faster, which, is pretty amazing. So what to buy? It's easy to get caught up with fancy numbers and specifications, but remember one thing, paper never refuses ink, and a lot of the time specifications are exaggerated. 40, 50 watt light, 40 to 50 watt diodes, which are really just 4 to 5 watt with a bigger heatsink. Mainly they'll be overdriven, having a really short lifespan. That's not what you want. So who sells products like this? China is a massive hotspot for cheap electronics, knockoffs. They get a branded laser module, they copy it. They look the same, they sound the same, they have the same, if not better specifications. Well, the only problem is they're inferior. They use inferior components, cheaper components even, cheaper metals, lighter heat sinks, really noisy and useless fans. Some fans are just for show. They don't even dissipate the heat correctly due to their positioning. And as such, the laser can overheat and stop working, malfunction. It's not good, it's not what you want. The main disadvantage of Chinese lasers is, 1, they're cheaper for a reason. 2, the build quality of the optics is generally not that great. 3, the electronics are usually inferior, the capacitors are cheaper, the resistors are cheaper, which is basically going to shorten the life of your laser. Not really much point. The heat sinks are thinner and generally won't have thermal paste from the factory, so they won't dissipate the heat as well. The fans can be noisy and in some cases designed in such a way that they are absolutely useless. They may not have removable or focusable lens, which is needed basically. They won't have a long life, as the controllers are often overdriven. They're quoted on electrical power and not optical power. Well, why do we buy them? What is so attractive with buying from China? Sites like, Banggood, AliExpress, made in China. I guess it's easy. The prices are so good. Well, comrades, you have to understand a couple of things. You get what you pay for. And all that glitters isn't generally gold. On a video I watched a few days ago, results from these imported lasers were far from optimal. It showed a 30-watt laser giving out 7 watts of power, and even their 5-watt laser they showed only gave out a maximum of 1 watt. This can be due to inefficiencies in the driver conversions and loss in the power conversions. You need to know optical power and not just electrical power. Some important safety tips for you. Always use laser protective eyewear, LPE. No excuse. Have adequate ventilation at all times. Plastics give off toxic fumes. Know your equipment. Know what to do in case of an emergency. Have your work area clean, free from dust, free from old projects and cuttings, and keep the beam pads below standing or sitting eye level. It's imperative. Have the power supply airted, have it safely away from being touched or knocked over. Read point 1 again, and then enjoy your new laser. All of these things are very important. I want you to just relax and enjoy the whole experiences. Buy from a company that specializes in lasers. Do your research. Go with a company like Endurance Laser. A reputable company. Not only can they deliver high quality lasers, but they stand over their equipment. You can contact them anytime. From what I've seen, they're constantly striving to make a newer and more efficient laser and the accessories to go with them, which is awesome. They make some cool looking products. Industrial design for reliability, and cost is not the limiting factor. They want longevity for their customers. They want you to be happy. They would rather have you with something reliable, productive, to cut down on returns. A happy customer makes better business, wouldn't you say? For sure, it's great to be able to reach out to the people that make and design the products and get the answers back in a timely fashion. This alone is worth the differences in price, especially if you're only starting out. They have a wonderful educational and interesting videos on their website, and they're really good to keep on the radar. So just keep them under your hat. What to pay attention to when choosing a laser. As before, do your own research. Not all reviews are going to be created equally, and eBay is full of biased reviews on many products, including but not limited to lasers. Take your time. Only buy once you're happy with what you will be getting. Will do what you need it to do. Simple, right? Before you buy anything, before you upgrade anything, ask yourself, what is it you need it for? What is it that you can't do now? If you can do everything you need now, but you want to do it faster, well, maybe then. Due diligence on products that the company supplies or make. If they happen to be in Chinese, what's the recourse if something goes wrong? What if you want to know something? How to make it work? Help with your setup? Can you contact them by phone? Email? Remember, buying abroad, you may get a cheaper price, but you will normally have the deliveries, the taxes, and maybe even import duties. In Ireland, this is now on everything that's imported. It used to be under €20 was exempt, but not anymore. See what accessories you can use with them. Do they sell different optics? Do they sell air assist kits? Have options to mount them on their laser? Or can offer advice on what works well with their own equipment? What software does it come with? How easy it is going to be to set up? What about technical support? Is that available via the website? Or are you just left to your own devices? Maybe you just say a little prayer to the baby Jesus and ask him for advice. Who knows? I don't have those answers. What about user friendliness in the community? Well, this is where things get great. Lasers are a wonderful hobby to get into. Arts and crafts, maker houses should have probably one or two there to get some hands-on experience if you don't want to go out and spend loads straight away. There's a huge amount of online community filled with awesome creative ideas and projects to help you get started. Hobbyists generally encounter problems at some point, no matter what it is. So joining a makers group on Discord or other forums will really help you get along the way to get started. Now you have a basic understanding about our Chinese friends and basically what they're offering. At least now you're informed on why they can be problematic. But like leading a horse to water, you can only decide to drink. Only you can decide to drink. I'd like to encourage you on your journey in the wonderful, bright and shiny world of lasers. So go forth and make a great decision to create wonderful projects. And help others too if you can. Don't be afraid. Get involved. Peace. Me. Oh, you absolute donkey. The young boy feels to look at lasers, oh lasers, oh lasers, oh lasers, oh lasers. Goddamn fucking lasers. Goddamn lasers. Used with hobbyists. Using jumba, 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 la da da. Boop, 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 boop. Not really. I loved when they implemented it into mice, got rid of that old ball system where you had to clean it every couple of months. The thing would be full of skin and hair and, well, you know, bit of everything. Now you've got lovely, fluid movement, great DPI, just amazing. Best for gaming, lasers. None of this ball action. It's all past those days now. Lasers, 3D printers, run on G-code. Very easy, very simple. Programs available for free to help you get in, load a project, try it out, and boom, job's oxo. Look, the main points of this video are going to be simple. Try to stay away from cheap Chinese knockoffs. The Chinese are good at making things. They really are. They're good at copying things and making them at a reduced price. They could make things identical if they use the same quality products, but they don't because they need to make money, because the stuff is farmed out in hundreds and thousands of batches rather than small little factories that are making high quality diodes. For us as hobbyists, it's important that we get good quality. The better quality stuff we have at the start with, the less downtime we have, the less trouble we have. And that's very important for a hobbyist. Although, you know, sometimes it's okay to break things because you get to learn how to fix them. But when you're scratching your head and you're wondering what the hell's going on, you realise that the actual diode is burnt out because the controller board has overdriven it because of the voltage regulator on it isn't working. Or it was overdriven to start with from the Chinese factory. Yes, it's a 40 watt laser. Is it a 40 watt laser? Maybe electrically it's 40 watt, but optically it's 7 watt, maybe 8 watt max. Dirty, stinking liars, that's what they are. So, do due diligence. Look at the different companies. Enjoy the experience. Reach out, get more and more information, as much as you can. And trust me, you'll have a good time. The simple way to look at it is, why would you need a good glass in front of your diode? It's quite simple. Imagine, for instance, a sensor on a camera, yeah? Picks up all the light and gets all the goodness. Well, you need a good lens in front of that to focus that light right down onto that sensor. If you have fingerprints and grease and dirt on the front of your lens, well, that's going to be imprinted onto the photoreceptor, the CCD, basically the image sensor. Now, if you think about that in reverse, imagine powering up that sensor and it's firing out light and it's going into that dirty, dirty, dirty lens. Well, the beam is going to get diffracted, it's going to converge, it's going to do all kinds of weird stuff that you don't want it to do. And ultimately, you're going to be left with something that's subpar to what the diode could put out. Now, take off that dirty lens, maybe not take it off, maybe clean it. Get in there, give it a bit of a clean, give it a wipe, look at it, see if it's all right. Don't look at it when it's on though. Oh no! Oh, it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Some important safety tips to follow. Always use the laser protective eyewear. Have adequate ventilation at all times. Plastic gives off toxic fumes. Now, I don't want to hear about you going to sleep because you've had a quick whiff of the old plastic fumes and gone to sleep now. It's just not on. Know your equipment. Know what to do in case of an emergency. Have your work area clean and free from old projects and cuttings. Keep the beam pads below and even. Keep the beam pads below or above standing or sitting eye level. Have your power supply outed and safely away from being touched or knocked. Now I want you to read number 1 and 3 again, so I will. Always, 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 always use laser protective eyewear. Laser protective eyewear. It is absolutely imperative that you use laser protective eyewear. Right. Important safety tips. Always use laser protective eyewear. It goes without saying. Have adequate ventilation at all times. Plastics give off toxic fumes. Lasers are a wonderful hobby to get into. Arts and crafts, maker houses, they all have them. They're great, they're really fast, they're very reliable. But buy something good, buy something reliable. Buy once, buy once. Bye, 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 bye.